Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Not Another Rangers podcast. I'm your host, Gary, and it's been the first podcast after the first competitive game of the Russell Martin era after a 2-0 win against Panathinaikos at Ibrox on Tuesday night now, when we started the second round of the Champions League qualifiers. So we've got lots to delve into. The talking's over. The comments can begin. The views can be given. We can rave about the best players in the world, slate the ones that are the worst players in the world. We've played 90 minutes and we can now judge everybody properly, which is what we'll probably do over this pod. If you like us, you've probably been listening to lots of pods, so you've watched the rest now. Now watch the best, as Ricky said to me earlier on. They are on constantly. So there's been lots of stuff talked about over the game. So we are going to talk about the game because we only do a Monday and a Friday. We'll talk about some of the transfer rumours. We'll talk around some of the other stuff that's been happening. But hopefully it's going to be quite an interesting pod. We'll prepare. We'll do a little bit of a preview of the game, the friendly game against Middlesbrough tomorrow. So, Scott, you might want to gloat to start off from this podcast tonight. So what did you say on Monday evening?
I can't remember. I'm not old. I can't remember back to Monday. I said I wanted a 2-goal lead.
Mm-hmm. And what team did you pick? Was it a certain team you picked that seemed quite familiar coming the Russell Martin picked?
I think it was the exact same 11 it started, if I'm right, Gary. I wasn't a team I'd have picked myself. It's just a team I thought he'd have went me, and that's where he went me, because I thought he didn't have everybody 100%. So I suppose I thought he was going to go with taking the last closed door game, plus the one that's probably done the most training.
We'll get into the game in a lot of detail. So I mean, I met Scott at half time, and some of the players that turned out to be really good in the second half were really bad in the first half, and I wanted them off. So my knowledge of football is very limited, clearly. So we will talk about some of that. Ricky, you watched the game from a different part of the world. So how have you been? How are you?
No, great, mate. It's great to have Rangers back. The break was long during the summer, especially. There wasn't much great football on, mate. So just to have that competitive, I had to get up early in the morning, but I still watched it, and I was bouncing about my hotel room like an absolute maniac. Woke up half the hotel when Finlay Curtis put the first one in, and then Gassama running about the room singing the Gas Man. So I'm surprised I'm probably banned from that hotel, but it was great, mate. Good victory, and looking forward to speaking about it.
So let's talk about it. First, Ricky, did you ever think you see a US takeover, Russell Martin as a new manager, and the front three of Kieran Dowell, Finlay Curtis, and Danilo?
Yeah, Kerr told me in the summer that it was all going to happen before it did, because he's a genius. No, mate, and we'll probably never see that front three again. I don't think that'll be the front three that starts over in Greece next week in Athens. So I was very, very surprised. Nobody imagined that we would ever be in that position. And if we get on to the game, mate, I mean, the first 10 minutes, it looked really good. It looked brilliant. We were pinging the ball about. The players seemed to be in the right position. And then, like everything with this team, we had a little bit of a knock with Raskin. Raskin gave the ball away and then got a bad booking. He took the booking for the team. And then after that, probably because there's only 3 new players and all these players are from last season, but after that, the team just crumbled, mate, until half-time. It was crazy. With a little bit of a flurry just before half-time when I think Diamande had a shot and Danilo had a volley and stuff like that. But it was a strange first half. But I did like a lot of stuff that I seen, Gary. I was really impressed, and if that's like a starter for what we're going to see for this season, then it's going to be super exciting, mate.
Yeah. How about you, Scott? Your overall thoughts? I mean, we'll go through the game in a bit of detail, but your overall thoughts on the game after reflecting over the last couple of days?
My granddaughter's in the background, so you probably hear her talking more sense than me, but I thought the game was decent, Gary. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, the first half was slow at times, and we were getting people were getting the knickers in a twist, basically, weren't in the first half, and I don't understand why people just one pass, one pass, or whatever, people just go like that, and they just turn on the player. Maybe if it was October or November, and you're thinking this has been a few months, this isn't working, this isn't great. But it was even the first half of the football, it was like 10-15 minutes into the very first competitive game. People are shouting at players, and you're like, come on, get a grip. But no, I thought a 2-goal lead going over there, I'm happy with. And I thought we come on to a game, and you could see there was a bit of tension, a bit of nervousness in their play. But they were trying things. Some of the players were trying things I'm not used to. If you've watched last season and the season before, and with some of them, and some of the players, it's their first game at Ibrox. Do you know what I mean? It's a big stadium, and to play in front of really heavier fans to play in front of, because you know yourself, if you make a mistake, they can be very, very critical you straight away. So, and you can have 10 good games after that, but then remember the bad game. That's what football fans are like. But no, I was happy, Gary.
Do you know, I was thinking about it as well. I was saying to Ricky that I think the first 10 minutes, as you say, we started really well. We did have a shaky 20 minutes, but I think it's maybe been a bit overhyped. Then in the last 15 minutes, the first half, we'd the amount of chance, some of the next passes of play. So there wasn't. I think there's a nervousness maybe about the supporters in general, that we're looking for things at times in terms of how it's not going to work. I don't think it was maybe as bad as the first half, although there was some scary moments, gave the ball away a few times. But looking back in the highlights of the game, the couple of chances they had in that first half were through set pieces. They went through, particularly through great play, great tactics, great skill, cutting through us, Ricky. It was either our mistakes, losing the ball, or a set play, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what we need to get better at, Gary. But I mean, Jesus Christ, man, we handed Russell Martin a bucket and spade, put him on a beach and asked him to build Windsor Castle, mate. It's going to take a bit of time. The man's not an absolute genius. It's you've got 11 new players trying to play a new system. Some of them probably, people say he's been there 4.5 weeks, but the first week it was all kids that came back. Then the international players have been coming back in dribs and drabs and stuff like that. So our most important match of the season was like a Swiss Army knife, because it was also like a pre-season game for us. You've got your biggest game of the season. You're trying to get minutes in the legs of the players. You know that they're not fit enough to give you more than 70 minutes. I thought the players were actually a lot fitter than they've been the last few seasons and stuff like that. So it was always we were always going to make mistakes. The players were all never going to be in the right position for 90 minutes and stuff like that. So the first half was probably to be expected, but we're Rangers fans and we want everything to be perfect all the time. But to be fair to the team, Gary, like you said, I didn't think Panathinaikos. I thought they were quite smart, and the manager sort of like was wanting Shooter to be on the ball. And then when Aarons or the right back, they knew that the full backs were going to drop in, and as soon as they did, they were on them and pressing them hard. And I think Aarons was just a little bit slow at releasing the ball, and Raskin probably had his worst 45 minutes in the first half he's had in years for Rangers, and then in the second half he was absolutely brilliant. So like you said, at half time you could have taken 4 or 5 players off, but in the second half they all showed up. So we'll just have to be a little bit patient and just get used to it's not always going to be perfect, but when it clicks it's going to be great to watch. So fans just need to calm down a little bit, and I'm sure I think the majority of the fans realise how big a rebuild it is and what's going on, and they will give the manager a bit of time. It's just that wild 10-20% that are going to be shouting and screaming at the players, and people just need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about the play before we talk about the particular moments in the game, Scott. You know, one of the good things we have is being up in the back of the room, and as you get to see the full pitch and you get to see every single movement as it's happening. I'm saying to Ricky, sometimes beneficial. You can see those little patterns, the way that, I don't know if you see it on the TV, but a good example was if Tav moved into the middle, Aaron's moved out to the left, and if Aaron's moved into the middle, Tav moved out to the right. Just wee things that look quite different. How did you feel the style of play kind of complemented what we're looking for this season? And how enthused were you by it, I suppose, as much as anything else?
I think you can see what they're trying to do, what Martin's wanting the players to do, Gary, but until he gets the guys he wants in, you can see why he's desperate for width, because the way we're going to play. I mean, I know Raskin made a few errors in the first half, but Finlay Curtis did see a lot of time. He was in the correct position. He was passing the ball. They two are trying to link up a partnership that's never really been there before. They were trying to play. I don't think they had anybody running by them either, creating space. I think the second half, Aaron's done that a lot better. Once or twice he got by and took somebody else away, because at times Curtis had 3 men on him at times in the first half, and he was struggling. And I thought you see Aaron's and Tab came into the middle, dealing and asking all. They went back out, didn't they? They went back out way, and they took him in. So it's the way he was trying to play. Northwell was just kind of circling, having a kind of furrow everywhere about the centre circle and just beyond. And it was interesting we were trying to play. You can see what they're trying to do. I thought Shooter had a lot of the ball, which I'm not really happy about, because I think he struggles with the ball. But then Giga had the ball a couple of times and he made an error as well. But they're trying to play away. They're trying to play the possession stuff, even at times when Tav have it. Tav likes to play the ball down the side for the striker and on or the winger on it, and he was trying. he looked up and then he thought, no, I better not, and then he put it to his side and he was trying other passes again. So it's something that's going to just have to be built in, and they're going to have to learn from it. But I thought the second half, the passing forward was more better in the first half, because a lot of time, I just thought a lot of time there was a lot of bad choices in the passes because we're putting the teammates into trouble. Like they're playing the ball, and maybe Aaron's had it at times, but his back was to goal. He had maybe a man on him, and maybe he's not comfortable getting that close contact with someone on him. And obviously he's playing the opposite side, because you've seen him when on the right side when he created the goal. He was a lot more comfortable on that side, turning back inside and getting the ball away. So, like I say, it's only the first 45 minutes. You see a lot of good, you see a lot of bad things, but it's just something we're going to have to accept, and we're going to have to be patient with, because for everything that was bad, there's a lot of good stuff. So you can't say it. There was negatives and positives, but to me there was more positives. Obviously because we got the result, but even if we didn't or we drew, it still wasn't that bad a performance. Panathinaikos were a lot better than I thought, to be honest with you. I didn't know what to expect from them, but I thought some of the players were very tidy. Some of the players looked comfortable in the ball. But if I didn't spend so much time trying to cheat and try to dive and people weren't near them, I might get more than they actually got.
Yeah. So Ricky, what about you? I mean, the style of player, it's quite an interesting concept that your two fullbacks move into the middle of the park and your two central midfielders move on to the wide areas, because technically speaking, they're obviously not wide players, they're central midfielders, or else they wouldn't have done that. So you're asking two guys that play wide to move into the middle, two guys that play in the middle to move wide, and all that sort of rotation to move it all about. It's quite an interesting way of playing.
Yeah, no, it's exciting, and it's very similar to the way Postecoglou played at Celtic, and that's like the way they play it, very fast paced, and you're breaking teams down in different ways. And if you like, his philosophy is the ball moves faster than players and stuff, so the ball moves faster than players can run. So if you're doing one touch football and you're in the right position and you do the patterns of play that they're sort of coaching you, then you're going to break teams down. And I think in Scotland, I think it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see when we play against Motherwell next week, to see it actually in Scotland. It's going to be interesting as well. Obviously, we're going to speak about the game in Athens a little bit later and stuff like that, but it's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do away from home when you've got a 2-0 lead, because we're probably, for me, I'm like, go 3-5-2 and like defend and just keep it tight, but that's no the way Martin plays, man. He's going for 3-0 in Athens, and it's probably he's right, because last season under Ferguson, we were so good against Fenerbahce when we tried to play, and we hit them on the break, and we were like dynamic. And then when we played away in Spain against Bilbao, he went back to that Walter Smith siege, just sitting, and I hate watching us. I'd rather we get beat 5-0 if we play like that away from home in Europe, Gary, because for me, it's just dreadful to watch, just defending. Football's about like having a go and entertaining the fans and stuff like that. So this siege just sit with 6 defenders. For me, it's like so boring to watch. So it's going to be, there's games coming up where it's going to be super interesting to see how his style of play evolves, how it works in Scotland, how he uses it away from home in Europe. So it's got this week already, the first week of the season, you've got Athens, and then you've got Motherwell, which is 2 massive games. So he's going to be introduced to being the Rangers manager very quick, and it's exciting for the fans, that's for sure.
Yeah. So first half, I mean, just picking up, as I say, there wasn't a lot that happened. We had a couple of chances. I think Daniil had the volley by the post, or deflected, it was going in the back of the net. Diamande had a kind of relatively weak shot. Other than that, there wasn't a lot happening. I think, I say, we met each other at half time in the Butland concourse, and I was highly critical of Curtis, thinking he looked like a boy on the pitch. He was struggling badly, looked a bit overawed. Didn't help with the fact that Raskin was struggling to pass the players, and obviously Aaron's was struggling. So that whole left side was really weak. And I think a lot of the fans, not just myself, would probably made a change at that point in time.
Yeah, Gary, I've seen that on social media. A lot of people did say that, but I did say to you, I would keep him on.
Yeah,
I thought he was trying stuff. It just wasn't coming off from him. I thought he was only one looking to go by somebody, and eventually did. Maybe he was a bit nervous, but I thought, listening to him speak, I think he was told at half time, go by somebody. And you seen that when he went by somebody, we got the goal, and he went by somebody else, the guy gets sent off. But I think he just needed that confidence. His first time playing in a big game. His family's there, his mates are there. He wants to impress, and I just think everything was so much for the young lad. And he's a Rangers fan. He wants to do so much to prove he's worthy of a start, because obviously he didn't think he probably was going to start. And then he was told that the day before, and he's probably up here the night before he said that, didn't he? He said he was so happy. So I thought he'd done really well. See if Finlay Curtis came from some other part of the country and came from another team, people be screaming for him to start. But it's like he's came through the academy, had a couple of bad touches in the first half, and be like, "No, we need to sub him. We need to sub him." But if he was came for somebody else, it was like, "No, he'll come good. He'll come good." That's just the mentality sometimes. But no, listen, he's not going to play every game. He's going to have a lot of time out. He's going to have games. He's going to have play times on the bench and stuff. But I just thought his enthusiasm was good in the first half. It wasn't coming off from, but he knew that himself. And him and the manager obviously sat down, Raskins and that, and it clicked in the second half straight away. When they came out, you could see it starting to get better. So it's good to see, because every game, Gary, we play, it's not going to be good. Managers already said that. We're going to have spells we weren't great, and we're going to have to learn to cope with that, and might get beat as well. But no, everything's going to be pretty. Sometimes it's going to be poor and we're going to criticise. But if you can see positivity in what we're trying to do, and see his progressing forward and thinking there's someone at the end of this tunnel, then we'll be happy with it. And that's all, as a Rangers fan, you're looking for.
Aye. And we've talked for the last couple of years about wanting a style and identity and all the stuff that goes with it. So you can't then complain when you start to see it. It's not quite working after 25 minutes or whatever it is in the game. I think that's the bit we maybe need to get grips with. So other than that, the first half, there probably wasn't a lot else to kind of pick up on. I say they had a couple of chances. Butland was probably the one pick of the first half, Ricky. He's had a lot of talk over the pre-season about his future and about the lack of ability to kick the ball with his feet. But it did remind us that he knows how to keep the ball at the back of the net with his hands, which is what a goalkeeper's supposed to do.
To be fair to him, he picked a good game to have his best game, and probably his best game is probably in a year at least, Gary. I thought he was outstanding, but the thing is now he needs to keep that going. It's going to be a big month for him, I would say, up until the window closes, mate. I mean, the window doesn't close until the 2nd of September, I think it is. So there's a lot of league games. There's a lot because Martin's going to be watching him. I said this last week. There's a lot of players that are on trial still at Rangers. Jack Butland's a good goalkeeper. I think even if you want to get rid of him at the last minute and bring a new goalie in, you can do that. But if he keeps his form up that he showed in Europe, then 100%, keep him as your number one and give him the season. But the problem with Jack Butland is, and it's been the same way his whole career, when he plays like that, he's unbelievable. That's an England international goalkeeper performance. But the other side of Jack Butland is when he loses his confidence, he struggles to get it back. And it's one mistake after another mistake after another mistake after another mistake. And the last season, he made so many. And we can't be in a position this season where the window closes and Butland, 3 months into the season, is kicking goals in and he's dropping goals, and Liam Kelly has to come in. Because for me personally, if Jack Butland's no good enough to be a Rangers goalkeeper, Liam Kelly's certainly no good enough to be a Rangers goalkeeper. So I think it's a position I'm willing to keep with Butland. I mean, we've got so many positions in the team that need so much strengthening before you're looking at the goalkeeper. You know, we need the left back. Is Suter good enough to play left centre back for the full season? He's never been able to play 2 games a week. So you're bringing in Fernandes, you need another centre back. You need a right winger, which is very, very clear, probably 2. So there's positions in the team that you need to strengthen before you're probably looking at the goalkeeper. But I think it is an interesting situation. If he keeps playing the way he did against Panathinaikos, then he'll be number one. And if he plays like that all season, and we go for a league title, always bad form will be forgotten about. But it is going to be a long season for Jack Butland, and he needs to keep this form up.
No, do you know, you reminded me that Ricky, this thing you talked about a lot last season about Desser's argument in it. Desser's either be a match rating of 3 or a match rating of 11 because he's either brilliant or he's terrible. And Butland's much the same as you say. He's either a world-class goalkeeper or else he's a poor Scottish Championship goalkeeper, depending on his confidence.
Exactly, and the mistakes he makes always leads to goals, man. I mean, it was with his hands. Most of it was with his hands last season. What I would say, just a point about last thing about Butland was, he wasn't having to use his feet as much as I thought he was going to be. I don't know if every game is going to be like that, but Suter seemed to be the one that was on the ball all the time. Suter had to be Franco Baresi or Beckenbauer at the back, but I thought Butland would have been using the ball a lot more, but it didn't work out like that. I don't know if that was one of the things that Martin was maybe annoyed about, that Suter didn't give the ball to Rothwell a lot more and let the midfielder, because I thought that was the plan, that Rothwell was going to be pulling the strings, and when he was on the ball, he was doing that. But for some reason, it was always Suter who was playing crappy balls, just blasting the ball into, like, when there was two men on defenders and stuff. And I thought that was, we need to get better at that. So that'll be another thing that'll be interesting to see how that evolves, you know.
No, definitely. And whether that was a tactical ploy by Panathinaikos, they have John Suter on his right foot, and he only could run one way towards the left side and pass it to, and was caught out regularly. I think that kind of showed up throughout the first half, certainly. So, second half comes, Scott, and they say Finlay Curtis. That's a lie. They break, I think, after Aaron loses the ball in the middle of the park. I haven't watched that game. And they go through, have a shot. Butler makes one of his poorer saves, and the ball rolls out, captures it again, and releases the play quickly to Raskin. Raskin drives forward, gives it to Curtis. Lovely jink inside, and I don't know what you were like, but I'm sitting at the game, and it was a bit of shock more than anything else that he's all of a sudden rattled the ball at the back of the net.
Listen, I think it's just because he cut inside Gary and he was running, and he took a shot. He took it a shot quite early, didn't he? And I know people say it took a wee deflection. It was a nick, but he took a shot early. I think he actually caught the keeper out as well, because I don't think he expected it. But listen, that's what you want for your wingers. That's what you want for your front men. No, everyone's going to hit the back of the net, but it's wanting to go inside, take a shot. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But it gave everybody a lift. Gave him a lift. It gave everybody a lift in the stadium, and gave his teammates a lift, because I must say we were struggling, but we weren't creating a lot of clear-cut chances at that time. But it just shows you what he can do. And listen, we're going to come this season, we're going to have to create a lot of stuff, and we will. And you were talking about Rothwell there and Suter. I think you were probably right when you said that Panathinaikos did kind of let Suter run with the ball, didn't they? They seen he wasn't the greatest passer, they seen he wasn't the biggest threat, and they thought if he can nick the ball off him, there's space, because he's up the park further than he should be. But we're going to have that this season, because if you watch Southampton under Martin, even Swansea, they've done the same. Yeah. And I know Ricky mentioned Butland not kicking the ball. Ramsdale hardly used his feet. When he did, he caused a few goals last season for Southampton. As long as the keeper can pass it at 5-10 yards and keep the ball at the net, that's all you're asking. Will Butland still be here next season? No, at the start of the window, I should say, in September. I don't know. He performed well, but he has been horrendous last season. So he kind of, there's a flip side, isn't it? And I think Martin does want another keeper in, even if he's here or not. Because I don't know. I'm in Ricky's camp here. I'm not a big fan of Liam Kelly. He does okay, but he's not good enough. But no, Gary, that was a perfect way for Curtis to show he deserved to stay in the park, and it gave the whole team a laugh, because we were needing that at that point in the game. We weren't playing bad, but we needed something to come, and it just came. And I think as soon as you had it, you thought it was good. I didn't think the goalkeeper was great. He was a big, tall guy, but I didn't think he was that great either.
No, and really bad at his feet, actually, to be fair. We were talking about Butland, because he was really poor with his feet. Sending off comes very shortly thereafter, which I didn't know at the game. I had no idea he'd been booked before. The red card goes up, and you're looking, oh, great, Boris. And again, Curtis going through. We bring on Gassama. Ricky, I'm going to let you talk through this, because you were up singing the Gasman song you sang. We don't know what that is yet, but talk us through this goal. It's actually outstanding football at the finish.
No, I mean, the whole goal was, it's the best goal scored since Galatasaray in Europe anyway. I mean, it was such a great breakaway goal. But, I mean, Curtis was brilliant. It's a great finish from the young man. I mean, confidence, they'll be buzzing through him. His interview, his press conference after the game about his mum telling him to go to bed because he couldn't sleep the night before the game, was absolutely dynamite, man. Just brilliant. A young kid. I mean, like Scott says, there's nothing better than a young kid. He's only 18, in the first team, doing that in a Champions League night for Rangers. Absolutely special. I think Curtis has got a big part to play this season, especially in Scotland, because he's direct and he knows where the goal is. And if he can get you like double figures in goals, that's what you want from a winger, backup winger. But the gas man coming on, I mean, Jesus, when was the last time you saw a debut like that? I mean, as soon as he came on, his first couple of touches, he was jinky. You could tell he had a bit about him. You can tell with a player right away. And as soon as he got the ball, you can tell he's a bit raw as well. Like, he's no, like, you can see there's a bit of genius about him, but you can tell his final ball needs a little bit of work and stuff like that. But Max Aaron's in the right back position. Great ball to Egerman, and what a pass from Egerman. He actually did that twice when he came on. He drew the players towards him and then smashed it around the corner, took out about 3 players, created the space, and wow, what a finish. What I loved about the finish was just how he saw the goalkeeper and he gave the goalkeeper the eyes and just whacked it into the corner. And we needed that. Couldn't believe at half time I would have taken 1-0. I would have lost a finger for 1-0, and then once the sending off happened and we were like all over them and dominating them, I was like, come on, we need to get 2, we need to get 3. By the end of the match, you were disappointed you never won 3 or 4-0, which is just crazy. But being greedy, I was happy that we got the second goal, because that is massive to take over to Athens. The heat is going to be difficult. It's 10 o'clock at night. It's going to be 30 degrees, but having that 2-goal cushion, and Rangers have been brilliant away from home now for at least 2-3 years. So I'm pretty confident we'll get the job done in Athens next week. But what a goal, mate. The gas man, they're making up ABBA songs about him. Bring it on. I hope that he catches on with the Union Bears. Another ABBA song at Ibrox. Fantastic, mate. And I hope we actually see a bit of him tomorrow. Obviously, he's not going to start, Probably Cortez is going to start, and Egerman and Dessers, you would imagine, try to give them the first half to get some energy in the legs. But it would be great to see him come off the bench again and maybe get 30 minutes. He looked totally knackered, by the way. He was only on the pitch like 15, 20 minutes. And on the TV camera, he's like completely blown out his ass. So you can see he's got a long way to go in pre-season. But no, excellent, mate. Great for the fans. New heroes. Great for the kids as well to get a new hero. They've got a young hero in Curtis, a new hero that we've just signed, the little French kid. So great stuff, mate. Great stuff.
Definitely. And Scott, we're right behind that goal. The way he whips it back across him, it was just a fantastic finish. And say the play leading up to it was outstanding. It was one of the, I think, Dio's at his best always when you get that space in the middle of the park to run forward. Egerman, who's often criticised for his lack of teamwork, played a lovely pass into him and just went direct right at him. And Raskin's part shouldn't have been scored either, because he took the defender away to give that space for him to hit the shot. It's just really, really good team goal.
It was, Gary, and that's what these players can do with a bit more confidence under their belt. You've seen it about 3 or 4 touches and it was in the back of the net, and they can defend in their own corner flag. So it was a really, really well taken, good goal. The boys took it really well, but Gassam, like I said, I've seen him last season with Sheffield Wednesday, and he was very exciting. Like you said, he's still raw. He's had miss at times with his shots and his crossing, but he's got that excitement that puts you in the edge of your seat, because he can always score goals like that. He can always do stuff like that out of nothing, and he's direct, and he just loves playing football. And he's still very young. People forget how young he is. He's not that. I mean, what age is he? 20 or something? 21. So he's still a young guy just learning, but you have to give him a lot of plaudits to come up to here, because there's probably a few teams after him who went elsewhere in the Championship or whatever, and he's come up to Rangers and said, I want to play there, because of Europe, but also he wants to play in Martin. So listen, we're going to enjoy him this season. We will be frustrated at times, because maybe think, why do you not pass it? Why do you not finish it? But he's got that about him that will get us excited, because when he gets the ball under him, we're going to say that he can go for him. He can go for it. It's going to put players in the back foot. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how he copes with the Scottish teams, because some of them sitting in front of the Govan stand, so you can't in front of the Copland Road, so you can't even get past them. Do you know what I mean? But no, it'll be interesting to see. But I think it'll be interesting to see as well. I don't used to think when Asgar comes back, because obviously he's an inverted forward. He can play a 10, but he can play wide and he come inside. So it'll be interesting to see. We've got so many attacking players. Once they hit the ground running, we're going to be very exciting to watch. So that's why I'm still interested to think, is he going to go 3 to back and play 2 wingers in the side? Do you know what I mean? Because to me, that'd be more exciting for us. But that's always up to Russell Martin.
It's interesting.
I think Diamande needs to do a bit more. I don't know what you boys think, like, but I see we keep saying with Diamande, we know he's a great player and we know there's a lot in him, and he was brilliant for the second goal. I saw people saying it in the comments, and I totally agree. He was excellent when Niggerman played the ball to him and stuff like that. But actually being involved in the match, I mean, Raskin was crap in the first half, but he was brilliant in the second half. But he's involved all the time. Diamande, for me, he's not involved enough. He needs to be involved, especially if he's playing in that number 8. Asgard's there ready to take his position. So Asgard might play on the wing until we sign a right winger. Like we're looking at this guy, Raksaki. I've got his name now. But
well done.
for me, Diamande, he just needs to do a little bit. I know, listen, it's the first game of the season. I'm not sitting here being negative and digging him out. I just want to see him because he's such a good player. We know he's a brilliant player, but I just want him involved a little bit more, dictating the play a little bit, more shots, more involved, you know.
The only thing I would probably say, I agree with you, I think he's a fantastic player. You know, he's lovely on the ball. Some of the way his body can shift and take go away with guys is phenomenal at times. And as you say, it probably doesn't get enough on the ball, or maybe not as obvious on the ball. He does do a lot of runs, a lot of movement. I think that people start to get used to. I watched him a lot. He was drifting into spaces, but wasn't getting the ball. So maybe it's a little bit of tactical. But I think Asgard's what, left number 8 probably, is that what they're kind of saying? So it's potentially Diamande or Raskin is the right number 8. It seems to be the more, again, probably all three will mix up at different things, but that's the kind of more likely of the options. But no, I thought Diamande had a good game, personally.
I think the deal is he can fly under the radar at times because he's not involved as much as Raskin. They're two totally different type of players in my opinion. Raskin likes to get involved, he likes the hustle and bustle, he likes the physical side, whereas Deal doesn't really bother with that. He's more technically, he wants to play football more, and Raskin likes to get involved into the niggling players and tackling and stuff like that. But if he's playing forward as an 8 more, then he's going to have to maybe not do that as much. But Deal, to me, and I've always been frustrated with Deal because I've said that to the time, Gary. There's a really, really good player in there. It's worth a hell of a lot of money if he can just get it right.
Yeah.
And I've always said as well, Gary, I don't think if he was in France or Italy, he would stand out because it's football suited to him. So I just hope he gets it right because there's a player there, it hits the trading model 100% with Deal. And there's a guy there who can help us so much to achieve what we're trying to achieve. But it's up to him. But I thought he was okay Tuesday night as well. I didn't think it was a bad game. I thought he was okay.
It's interesting, Scott, to know, but despite the fact we still need 3 or 4 players, and we all know we need 3 or 4 players, there's a pretty strong bench. I mean, there's not a bad squad forming considering we've only signed 7 or 8 so far. You can see the squad starting to take shape, despite the fact that obviously 8 guys hanging about in the training centre.
Yeah, this bench was very, very strong on night. I think the players, it's no involved, kind of no, and they're really going to be involved anymore, Ali. He might maybe 1 or 2 brought in for tomorrow, depending on what he goes with tomorrow. But at least the bench was strong. You could bring on somebody to change a game, like we've seen. Not like in the past, we're bringing on guys, maybe we think, what's he going to do? Or we've tried him before and it's not worked. So it's good to see we had a really, really strong bench for a change.
So what I don't want to do is probably talk about the bad performances. But I've heard enough pods this week talk about Kieran Dell and all the rest of it. Do you know he's there? He's there for a reason. He's there for a purpose for the next couple of months, probably. I'd rather focus on the players that are new or the players that played well. So I'm going to pick up on Joe Rothwell first, Ricky. Do you know, I thought first half, as you say, he wasn't getting the ball a lot because maybe John Suter was running straight in a straight line towards the touchline. But come the second half, he started to take control of the game. Some of his movement and touches, just the way he could run with the ball at a bit of pace, just with that ability was outstanding.
I see he's got a wing mirror like Steve Davis. I mean, he's getting compared a lot to Steve Davis. He's got a long way to go. That's a proper Rangers legend there. But his back heel, I loved his back heel. His back heel was amazing because he was running down a cul-de-sac and then one-way street, boom, back heel, absolutely like an arrow. And it took out the complete Panathinaikos team and changed our attack. So if we can see some more moves like that, then... But listen... You could tell when we signed them that all the supporters, especially from Leeds and the people that had watched them, been watching them, Leeds fans were devastated that they didn't sign him and the other guy that they let go, that they had on loan and stuff like that. And that's always a good sign. that you're bringing in a player that if the fans of the team that are leaving absolutely adore him and love him and are like, why did we let him go? That's always a good sign, especially if it's so many people that are saying the same things. And first impressions are everything. And I saw Aaron's getting a lot of stick. I actually liked all the new players. I think you could see the quality. Obviously, he was playing out of position, and there was a couple of times where he was caught on the ball, but you can tell he's a quality operator. Rothwell is a quality operator. We've got 5 starters for our team, but 2 of them are not fit enough to start right now. But when you start getting, like, we only had 3 new players in that team to get a 2-0 victory. We've never beaten Panathinaikos, 4 attempts, so to beat them 2-0 and take that over to Athens was a fantastic result. So when your starting lineup gets to 4 or 5, and then you get another 2 in, get Raksaki for the right wing, and then that gets you up to 6, and then you're up to 7 new players, maybe even 8 before, right? You're playing your big Old Firm game or you're playing your big batches, then this team will be absolutely fine, Gary, and I think we'll end up doing a lot more business than we could have dreamt of when the window started. So all the new players for me, I really liked what I saw from all 3 of them. And Asgard's supposed to be the best of the lot, so we've still got the best to come in. Wagasama, so it's exciting. Hopefully we see. I've seen everything else this week, but I've not seen the training videos, so I'm not sure if he's been training the last couple of days. I'm not sure if they've even released any training videos, but it'll be great to see if we do get to see him tomorrow, even for 15 minutes or stuff like that. And even if he's on the bench in Athens, then that, like you said, the bench is, because strong enough, it'd be great to see Egerman up front, number 9. I love that. But if you're getting players on the bench and the bench is getting stronger with the players you're bringing back as well, then it's only good for the future, Gary.
No, definitely. I think Aaron's. I think he did struggle a wee bit. He was running into trouble a lot of times, and that's again somebody playing out of position, playing the left hand side. And again, I think maybe Panathinaikos or Jude maybe targeted that, knowing that he was going to receive on a certain foot, and they were able to press because it looked like a trigger. You didn't see them pressing necessarily when Rothwell or Tav or other ones round at that point. They seemed to stand off them, so there maybe was more tactical than anything else and made them look worse. I was impressed. There's not been much talk, Scott, about Njiga. I liked him. I know he made a bit, he lost the ball that one time and recovered it really well, but he looked, you usually tell with a centre half, a bit of pace, bit of power, quite comfortable on the ball, and he looks like he's got something about him.
He's just a big defender, Gary. That's all you want. Somebody who attacks the ball in the air, somebody who's physical and strong when they're running with players. Don't get pushed off the ball. They can push people off the ball. They can hold them off the ball. And I think he'll do really well for us this season. I still think he needs another partner. I think he needs somebody next to him who can complement his game more. I think I've never been Suter's biggest fan. I think he's a siege defender. I think he's okay at this level, but I think if you want to get better, we need better than John Suter. But that's just my opinion. I know Jiga's only here for a year on loan. We can't afford him because I think we also want quite a lot of money for him, yeah. But you can see he's played at a good level. You can see he's played in European football. You can see he's played in leagues where it's just blood and thunder. Do you know what I mean? It's just guys physical against him, and he can hold his own. Yeah, maybe a couple of slight passes, but a lot of centre halves like that nowadays. But I liked him, so I did. And I will say one thing about Kieran Dowell. I'm his biggest fan. I just think we've not used him to his potential. I will say that for him. I don't think we do him any favours with putting him out wide. But I thought he was okay. I thought in the first half he didn't have any worse a game than anybody else. No. I thought the second half he got in it more. He was unlucky with the header. The crossfield asking him was very unlucky with the header. And he put in a few tackles and he kept it simple. He wasn't trying to do difficult stuff. He kept it simple with his passing and stuff. And I thought he done okay considering we were lacking down that side, and that's probably how he played. But I thought he done okay. Will he leave? I don't know. I think Martin does like his versatility, and I think Martin does like him as a player. So unless we get an offer or we bring somebody else in to cover that position, I could see him being here this season because I think Martin will will be a useful squad member.
No, I'd agree. It's been like the games, the amount of times that people, as soon as he got the ball, done something. I think it was the one that the guy crossed in and Butland made a good save, really good save, and then sort of with a good block. And the guy next to me is like, that was Dill's man. Now, if anybody's seen that free kick, the guy, it was like, how could you blame the guy? The guy ran through about 30 yards away, ran through. It was like, they're just looking for a reason to blame the guy. There's no logic to it. And sadly, that's what happened.
Rangers fans, we always need a whipping boy. There's always a whipping boy. If Dillon moves on, it'll be on to Suter. You know, it was Barisic last season. It was Butland. We always need a whipping boy, and that's never going to change, man.
Aye. and we all know he's not going to be a first 11 player all the time. If he can do a job, he can, as you say, versatile. You know, I don't think the first game of the season is really the time to start going the players back, who was bad and all the rest of it. Let's focus on where we're going, not where we're at just now. I think from there. In terms of the game, I think that's probably the main reflection. We've obviously got the big game next week, Ricky. I'm going to come to you first because I was actually thinking the same as you. Do you go 3-5-2 and guys that maybe a bit we'll bring in Fernandez, and because what they did look good at was set pieces and crosses and all that sort of stuff with it. But probably like you also don't think that's the sort of thing that Russell Martin will be thinking.
No, I would. As soon as the game finished, and I look at the players that we've got available, I think that for me personally, I think 3-5-2 might suit us with Tab maybe into right centre back, bring Yefty in, move Aarons to right back, and then have like Tab, Yiga and Suter as your three centre backs and attack them on the wings, and then have Igaman and Dessers up front for the two with the same three that we had in midfield. I don't think that would be a bad shout, but I think it's going to be exciting, but I just think Martin is just going to go for it. I think it's just going to be absolutely wild. And the first 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be like, we'll either score an early goal and we'll be on top like they were against us at Ibrox, and we'll be like, yes. Because listen, like this team can play in Europe. We were brilliant away from home last year in Europe. We beat Malmo. Sorry, not Malmo. Was it? No, not Malmo. Who was it? The team in Sweden.
Was Malmo?
Was it Malmo? Malmo. I beat them, and then we beat Nice. I mean, Nice were absolutely destroyed. Nice absolutely took them to the cleaners, mate. And some of the performances and the way that this team. But to be fair, it was set up it suited us because we had Cherny and Dessers were like telepathic away from home, and then Igaman was superb as well. So we need to try and get the big man up front, and for me, we need to get Igaman back in that team for Athens. But at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see what Martin does. But all he needs to do is get through. Even if we win 5-4 on penalties and they win 2-0, we just need to get through, mate, because Shakhtar Donetsk are waiting in the next round for the Europa League. They won in Turkey 4-2, which was a massive result for them. So the Champions League draw, I don't care in Europe. I only care about getting past this game. I don't care if we win the next game. Good to win the next game and get 5 million. I think that would be a good achievement. Yeah. But for me, I don't care if we're in the Europa League or in the Champions League this season. I actually think the Europa League would probably be better for us. If we get to the playoff round and we're in the Europa, for me, that's better, because I think with this team that he's trying to build and getting Pastons in the Champions League, like we did a few years ago, because the team is not ready for the Champions League. Let's be honest. That is now, the Champions League is not the Champions League from 5 years ago. We saw the levels are so high, the teams you're playing against now, especially with this league table. So for me, I would rather probably one season in Europa, let him build his team, let him get his players in over the next 3 windows and attack the Champions League next season. When we win the league, we'll be in it automatically anyway. So that would be the best route for me. So
I'd agree. And I think, for any of us, we want to get to Europe, not because we really want to think about the Champions League, or not because we want to go what we don't want to do. I think Servette beat, who was it again? Right, talking about Pilsen. Servette beat Pilsen 1-0 away from home. Although I think, looking at the stats, I think Pilsen battered them and maybe they sneaked it. But as you say, whoever we get there is going to be better than Besiktas or Shakhtar Donetsk, and the chance to reach the playoff round, get the extra £5 million, guaranteed Europa League football of 20 million quid, or whatever it brings in over the course of it. So I think this game is probably going to be very crucial, not just to our season, but to our transfer dealings for the rest of the next 4 weeks. Scott?
Yeah, listen, I'd like to get through this round. Listen, I like getting the Champions League because that's where the money is, and the money can get you more players through the door. But if we don't. I've always said domestically that should come first, but I know you need both nowadays because you need money to buy players, and that's where the money is in the Champions League. But it's really important to get through this one. Yeah, this is the one we really need to get through first and foremost. And we've gave ourselves a very good chance. We've been 2-0 up. So next week, I think, Martin's got a philosophy. He doesn't really change a lot with it slightly, but he'll stick with what he knows, and he sticks with what he. It's good if you get a manager that believes in something. I know a lot of managers get stick for that, but rather have somebody that believes in something, somebody that chopped and changed all the time, down know way, like Mr. Clement, who didn't know what his best 11 is, whereas Martin kind of knows what he wants the players to do. And I think if the players don't do it in their side about it, don't bring somebody else in, I think that's what he would do. So it'll be, I'm looking forward to next Wednesday, but I will be nervous because they know that it's still in the tie. It's only two, but I was happy with two because it gives you a good wee comfort zone, but also if he score an early goal, like you mentioned, then they're back in it. If he score an early goal, it could finish it. But I'm confident we'll score over there, Gary, 'cause I think we've got too many exciting attacking players going forward, I think, and I don't think they're greatest defensively and the way we want to get forward. So I think it could be a high scoring game, to be honest with you, which isn't be good for us watching it, but I think it'll be good for neutral watching it. But no, as long as you can get through this round, I'll be extremely happy. So when I know everybody's mentioned Jack Rothwell, Joe Rothwell earlier on. I mean, he's 30, and people are mentioning the same breath as Stephen Davis, right? Which to me is nuts, totally nuts. But he's had a lot of good experience, but he's always played in the Championship or League One, but he's a lot of football under his belt. So this is his time to shine, and he knows that, and that's probably the reason why he joined Rangers, because he thought, I'm not going to make a crack at Europe playing in the Championship, even though it's a good level of football, as we know, and you earn a lot of money down there. But he's at an age where he's thinking, I need to play European football. So that's why he's probably came to us thinking, this is my chance to show people I can be at this level. And I think he will grab it with both hands because I think he is a very good footballer. I think he's very intelligent on the ball. And I think he will massive for us this season. And I think he will stay fit because looking at all his previous clubs he's been with, he's not missed a lot of football. And the Leeds fans raved about him, which is good to see. But you know yourself, football fans would change their mind all the time because had a poor game one week when we signed him and they said he was crap. So I think it's just we're going to have to judge him ourselves. But I'm very excited about his signing because I think his experienced head in there is going to have a lot of stuff to tell the younger lads he's going to be playing around about him.
No, definitely. He does look a good player. As you say, it's a bit over the top to start talking about him being the new Stephen Davis. He's played for 90 minutes. But I did watch his interview, and one of the interesting things he was saying was they asked him about Ibrox, didn't they? And I said it's one of those things you hear about, people talk about it, and you think you know what it's going to be like till you're actually out on the pitch and the noise and the size and the scale of it all. And I think you could see that he was generally excited about it.
Yeah, Gassama is brilliant as well. I mean, all the interviews I thought were great. Gassama was like, oh, massive, so big. Oh, big smile on his face. A bit of the fashion Sakawa about him. Big personality. Obviously doesn't speak that great English, but that was cute as anything. And then Curtis's interview was amazing about his mum and stuff like that. And then I saw that interview today with Rothwell. I just read it actually just before we came on the pod. It was on the Rangers Review, and no, I mean they're excited. They're excited to play at Ibrox. I mean you were at the game. I thought the atmosphere was probably quite good, 7 out of 10 or something. You would say. I don't know why the guy played simply the best for about 3 hours before the game. Just play it does me. He didn't play the short version and let the fans build the atmosphere. The fans are dying to sing. And they had simply the best blaring for about 8 minutes till they kicked off. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Come on, that's okay against Motherwell and that's okay against Motherwell and like players like that where you're building the atmosphere. But a European night, man, simply the best short version. Get a bit of Derry's Walls, man. Get the fans going absolutely bananas. That's what you need. But no, it was good and it's great. The players are going to, if they manage to get in the Europa League or even the Champions League, then they'll get these nights. They're going to be experienced. Jesus, the Champions League, you play about 50 games now, so they'll probably change the rules before the tournament starts this season. You never know with these mad buggers at UEFA and FIFA. So it's these. If you want these massive nights, then the carrot is there. You've got to perform. The carrot's there. You get into the Champions League, then you're going to experience Rangers at its absolute best. So it's there for the players, and hopefully they can do it. I see people in the comments, listen, I'd love us to get in the Champions League, but I'm the same as Kerr. It's no getting past this game is important, so we bank the money. But for me, it's like it's not the be all and end all. The be all and end all is to be challenging in the league and have a team that's challenging for the title. We need the money from Europe. We all know that. We need that. We need that cash. But what I want to see from this Rangers team is that Celtic have not got the league wrapped up. by January, or even worse. I mean, Clermont was an absolute disaster, so we don't want to see what we saw last season again, where they just run away with it at the start of the season. That's no good for anyone. It's no good for the league, and it's no good for us.
Yeah, no, do you know, it's like you just reminded me of something there. So at the game on Tuesday night, I thought the Europa League or the Champions League tune come on, so I was waiting for that to start. Then all of a sudden, I actually got a bit of an adrenaline rush when some of the benches started pumping out, you know, because you're expecting that kind of Champions League tune you're used to, and then I remember it doesn't actually happen until later on in the rounds, and I think
they're not allowed. You're not allowed until the playoff round. They're not allowed. We're the Diddy teams, mate. We're not in the Champions League. We're pretending we are. We're like the Team Champions League. You're only allowed to bring the flag out when you get to the playoff round, mate.
So we're talking about Europe. We need the money. We want the money. The money's important whatever we get, mainly but so we can buy Scott Raksaki. It seems, you know, one of the things that's been the big rumour the last couple of days. Russell Martin was on today, even Sky Sports, and refused to refute it. Talked about how he likes the player. Talked about how the scouting team at Rangers liked the player, which was a bit of a. Normally people bat away these answers. He was quite direct in saying that they liked him. So which I legit believe it's maybe closer than we would know, or that he just doesn't care and he's quite happy to tell you that he's interested in something. But the 10 million alleged price tag, the loan obligation, it's a statement of intent if that's the sort of thing we're looking at.
I think to me it's a no-brainer. I think you have to bring this boy, and if he's interested in coming to us, I think we have to go out and get him. I don't think we should be waiting, because I think he's quality, and that's just based on me watching him. I think he's 2-footed. Obviously, he favours his right foot, but he's 2-footed. He's quick. He's very skillful. He can finish. He can create. But he's just, if you were excited about Gassama coming on another night, this boy's better, far better. And I think the 10 million price tag's a bargain, because I think if he was going to another team in the English Premier League, they probably want more than that. But I think if you can get him for that price, you take it. I'm still wondering how Palace don't want to keep him, because I think he's ready for the English Premier League. But I'm still wondering how Palace don't want him. But if we can get him to Rangers, and by all accounts on social media, I know it's on social media, and some of that 99.9% of stuff you need on social media isn't true, but by all accounts, he's interested in coming because he wants to play under Russell Martin. So I'm not sure if that's true, if that's false. But I have to say, if Rangers ever get a sniff of getting this boy, we snap it up before Monday, because you don't want anybody else to come in, because people will outbid us because they've got more money. So if you can get him for that, you go and grab him, and you just say, right, we need players out. Obviously, Proper might be away and vice players out and on, but you get them now, and you take that gamble, because if you don't, we're stuck with other guys that's still there, like Matondo and Cortez, and guys that you're not really going to trust. Maybe playing Dill out there again, which is unfair to him. But if you can get this boy in, we're going to be so exciting going forward. Can you imagine these guys going forward, man? It's going to be, at times we'll probably say we've got all this talent here and we're struggling to score goals. That happens to every good team. But it's going to be so exciting, and this boy's just such a good footballer.
So see, Scott, I'm going to just a question. Sorry, Rick, just going to a quick question, right? I'll ask you, and Ricky, since you want to chip in. One of the things that's come across, you like the sexy Ancelotti name, right? You're a big fan of the Italian, and one of the reasons was that we thought it would bring players and it would bring gravitas, and people would want to play for them. The amount of people that have been talking about wanting to play for Russell Martin and that style of football, and it's not just him; it's been happening quite frequently over the times, which suggests that he does have a bit of pulling power.
Nail on head, mate. Absolute nail on head. That's not what I was going to mention, but you're right what you're saying. I mean, they reckon that he has got some big offers on the table from other clubs, but he said to Crystal Palace he wants to come to Rangers. And if you listen, you imagine the meltdown if we spend 10 million on a winger. I mean, they've got the Sharks ready over the other side of the city. They got pumped last night 5-1 by Ajax. Their fans got ran all over the city. They're causing mayhem in Italy. You imagine if we go and sign 10 million, a winger from Crystal Palace, the Sharks will be out maybe before the first game of the season. It could be a new record. So it would be a massive statement of intent. And this is what we need. We don't need 7 million, 8 million on a left back. Jesus, you can put anyone on a left back. Get one of the pandas out the Edinburgh Zoo and put that left back than anything. Just but sign on the right wing, go and spend 10 million and sign, and then they get Turgeman in as well, and then that'll push Graham Spears over the edge. and the meltdown in Scottish football will be sensational, man. The SFA will probably class the season as null and void. If we go and spend 17 million on a right winger and a striker, then the SFA will say, no, we can't play, unfair. We need to make up new rules about financial fair play. So let's do it, Rangers, 100%. Let's get it done in the excitement. It's the only thing I'm annoyed about the window. I wish the window was closed a bit earlier, because it just feels like you just want all this business done now, you know. But I think we're waiting. We're waiting on Wednesday night to see that we're actually going to get through. And if we get through, then the Americans are just going to turn up, like just the big bags of money, big bags of swag, and go, there you go, Russell Martin. There's a right winger, there's a striker, absolutely superb. There was rumours Dessers was linked with Bologna today. I saw that Bologna and the AK Athens things won't go away. So I can still see both of them moving on. I can see us having a couple of different strikers the end of the window and a new right winger. I can see a lot of business happening. Like Martin's been going on about it, but it's weird to see what we're going to do. I can still see us.
Yeah. You may have frozen there, Ricky. Right back. No, definitely. I think, and I did see the rumour again that Igaman's potentially going after the Champions League game, which, again, if it brings in £15-20 million, you can quite easily sign a striker and a £10 million winger to balance out. However, obviously, the issue is partly getting rid of these 8 guys that are costing us probably about $200,000 a week, and maybe the best part of our season of millions upon millions. So if you can get them out, you're probably saving, and even if you get them out for pretty low prices, you're still probably £15 million difference in gain. So that's huge. We need to get these players moved on as well before we can start bringing in umpteen other ones. But certainly, Raksaki seems to be the one that's the main link, and there's no other link. Connor Cody still fluctuates every couple of days, but other than that, there's not been a lot happening in terms of movement. But Robin Proper is apparently signed, on his way to sign for 20, and it seems to be, was a 4-year deal. They're giving a 31-year-old now to make it to spread the wages out, maybe to balance out some of the issues they had around paying that cost, which is great for us. Great if we get some money in for them. And it's the first one gone as we start to cull the ones that are no longer part of the plans.
4 years is good enough for him, Gary, because he's played in that league before proper. So 4 years they've given him, he'll be comfortable there. He knows the Dutch football, he's played there, he's comfortable there, and he'll last 4 years there, no problem. So he's playing centre back for 20, because there's no big expectations on them. Do you know what I mean? And I think he just came to Rangers probably a long time. He wanted to give it a try. It just didn't work for the guy. And it wasn't his fault. He tried, but he just wasn't, end of the day, good enough. And I always thought he was a player in him, but he just wasn't really good enough. But I've seen a lot of people complain about us looking at players in the English Championship and why we're not scouting abroad. We are looking abroad. But I just think Martin's obviously been interested in this job for so long. He's had players in the back of his head, even maybe not for us, maybe even for Southampton. If they thought they were going to get relegated, he's had players in his mind, and obviously Purdy and Thelwell's had players they've looked at before. And coming to a new club doesn't make these players disappear. They're going to sign the guys that they know well, or they think they can do a job, and then they'll look further afield. It's just they'll sign the guys where they're comfortable and where they've scouted before. So they'd rather sign somebody for the UK. I mean, Gassama's, I don't know, is he French? I'm not sure. As he from somewhere else, French. And then they've signed him, and because he came from England, but he's not English, so it just thinks they'll sign guys for a league that they've worked in or been managing in. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll look abroad, and maybe look elsewhere for stuff. But looking at the boy for Israel, so they have been spreading their wings. But I just think they're going to go for guys that they know and they're comfortable seeing, and I think can do a job with us. And I'm happy with some of the guys. I mean, Asgar's not played yet, but I'm so excited for him playing because I know how good he is. And again, that's just my opinion. He's not going to slate me a cut of one saying he's shite. After me saying all these players are decent, it's because I watch a lot of Championship football, and I think these guys are really good players. And that doesn't mean they're going to perform well for us, but it's just, I think they're decent. So I'm just hopeful when they start playing with Rangers, they're as good as I'm saying there.
So talking about the Championship, then we're playing a game friendly tomorrow against Middlesbrough. Brilliantly, Middlesbrough bring up 7,500, 8,000 fans, take up the full Broom and Rear. So going to be a big crowd of Middlesbrough fans. I'm not sure what the Rangers' attendance is going to be like, but there was a bit of talk at the start to say that it was a strange game to be playing. But when you look at that bench at the week during the week there, and the guys that weren't getting on, the guys that need game time, and the guys that need a bit of I suppose fitness as much as anything else. To me, it's probably seems the ideal game to be playing, Ricky. But there's a full team you could actually put in and switch from the starting lineup from Tuesday night.
The team is going to be completely different. I mean, you're probably Kelly and Butland are going to get a half each. You're probably maybe Aaron's at right back, Yefte left back, Fernandez, maybe Taff centre back with Fernandez. Rice or Barron's probably going to be sitting and then you great to see Lyle Cameron. Brilliant. We've not seen Lyle Cameron yet. You know, he's one we're excited about. So see him in a friendly. Another opportunity for Cortez. All the crap I see about fans. We need to be playing Cortez. Cortez has had all pre-season to impress, and he's been absolute mints again. Just because you win the bleep test doesn't mean you're going to be a winger for Rangers. But tomorrow is another opportunity. We'll start afresh with him. We'll see what he can do on the left, or if he starts them on the right. Egerman and Dessers, get 45 minutes into their legs, maybe even a bit more. Try and push it. Maybe Egerman, give him 60, give Dessers 60, and then bring on your players. Some of the players that were played through the week, you bring them on for 30 minutes. Don't push them. Just get the legs ticking over. I think it's a perfect friendly. I don't understand. I think it's a myth in football anyway, Gary. That's any time you play a European game, you have to have the Saturday off, or you have to have the game off before. Me personally, I think Rangers always play better when we're playing 2 games a week and the players are playing and they're not training as much, especially how hard Russell Martin has been pushing them. So I think the players, if you gave them the opportunity, they'd rather be playing at Ibrox tomorrow than they would be in the training ground, running. So it's better for the players. This is when you need games. We need games this part of the season. I actually still think that we're going into the Motherwell game next week. I think we're going to beat Motherwell, and I think it's going to look good. But I think we're all still a little bit undercooked when you look at all that, because they've been playing that League Cup since about 2007. That League Cup group stages seems to go on forever, man. So it's they've been playing games all the time in competitive games. So we're maybe a little bit behind when it comes to competitive minutes. But this game in Europe will completely, the players are going to be buckled 30-degree heat like a sauna. They're going to be running in. So that's going to be interesting coming back for the Motherwell game. So you might be in a position, Gary, just to highlight one more thing, you might be in a position where you've got to use some of your squad against Motherwell, because you don't know how the players' sports science will be keeping. The players are going to lose a lot of weight, and the players are going to be drained after running in that heat for 2 hours on against Athens if it goes to extra time or anything like that. So you might need to chuck in a Lyle Cameron. If Diamande and Raskin put in a massive shift in Athens, this is when you need Lyle Cameron to step in and maybe play against Motherwell. You might have to make 2 or 3 changes, because it might be a little bit much for the players this time of the season, because they're just getting up to speed. So it will be interesting to see how everything pans out over the next week.
Yeah. And Scott, there's no point in having a squad and sitting saying a bench is strong and then all these guys that are just not getting to play. I mean, as you said, Lyle Cameron's not played yet. You've got Barron needing Cortez, Bajrami, Dessers, Nigama needing fitness, as does Gassama. There's lots of, and Fernandez, there's lots of players needing to play football.
There is, Gary. I think they will get minutes tomorrow. Will he start maybe with the team he thinks for Wednesday? I'm not sure. I think everybody will get some game time. And I'm not sure who will start with or who will finish the game, but I think everybody will get some game time, no matter who it is, unless they've got a niggle. Yeah. Because I think this is the last friendly. They've not had a lot of competitive matches under the belt. They've had a few closed door games, but not a lot of competitive matches, apart from maybe the Bruges game, but that's another friendly, isn't it? So I think they're going to have to maybe give everybody minutes. I mean, I've seen something mentioned earlier, 30 minutes, change the team every 30 minutes, and people are laughing, but listen, sometimes you do that. Do you know what I mean? I know it can be stupid, but we've got enough players to rotate because it's a friendly anyway. In Middlesbrough, I mean, we'll probably see Morgan Whittaker and more if he's fit. We'll see what we've missed, because he plays them, doesn't he? Obviously, and Tommy Conway, the boy for
Rob Edwards was like to visit as a manager, wasn't he, at one point during the summer?
He was. Listen, I don't mind, but I have to say I thought Michael Carrick had done okay there, but obviously he didn't get him for where they wanted to go. Rob Edwards was a good manager, done it with Luton, so. they'll come up with a big support, as you said, 8,000 is quite a lot just for a friendly, and Middlesbrough fans are quite passionate as well, and they've got a lot of good players on their side, and I don't know how the pre-seasons went. I think it's just everybody's, you have minutes under your belt. If you get a result, you get a result. If you don't, you don't. But a big good game on it, because they've got a good squad. They've got a good squad full of really good football players. But I say it'll be good to see Morgan Whittaker. But we were after him for a while, we never got him. And maybe what we've missed, maybe he's playing at Ibrox, maybe he can think, well, I could have been here full time, but I chose, or I couldn't agree a deal for Rangers. But it'll be good to see.
I think, and Whittaker's an interesting one, because I think he probably did want to come all the time. It was the clubs who could never get to agree a deal for him to actually come. And in the games I watched in Championship, he did look a good player, to be fair. Whether he's as good as Raksaki or Gassama is a different matter, but he did look a decent player. The only other thing, I'm trying to think what else has been happening. Mason Munn's, Ricky's supposedly on his way to Dunfermline to managed by Neil Lennon for a season. I've heard some people say, should they go because it's Neil Lennon?
I'm not bothered about it. I know. I think he's a good goalkeeper. He's highly thought of in Northern Ireland. He's got a lot of potential so far. I mean, it did no bad for Alan McGregor. So if he goes down the Alan McGregor route, has 2-3 seasons out on loan, then he can come back and maybe take Kelly's position as number 2 if he shows that promise. I mean, he got some performances for the first team, but he always looked a bit shaky with his feet and stuff like that. So I think a loan move. There's a few players, Gary, that's going to be super interesting. What we're going to do with Billy Rice, we're going to do, there's a few, there's Xander Hutton. We need to get these guys out on loan if they're not going to be involved with the first team. Billy Rice can't have another season sitting getting 30 minutes appearances every 5 weeks, 6 weeks. He needs to be playing football. Maybe if Motherwell sell Lennon Miller, we should be offering Rice to Motherwell to replace Lennon Miller and give him a couple of seasons out on loan, because I think there is a potential Rangers player there, but we need to think about this. So Mason Munn out is a good start, but I think we need to think about a few other players as well if they're not going to be getting sufficient minutes. Forget about European squads and all that garbage. We can put a traffic cone or one of these Tesla robots on the bench in a Rangers strip, because it's better. The player needs development, and if he needs development, you need to get him out on loan. It's no use for us in playing 5 minutes for the full season, mate.
Yeah. And Scott, you've seen Mason Munn and going to the Championship. What is he, 19-year-old? Northern Ireland, 21, I think. He's quite young. So for a goalkeeper, I don't know, Pierce Charles is linked to us, but he's 19 years young for a keeper, and you go and learn your trade in it.
You do, and listen, he's got a lot of potential, this kid, and but goalkeepers seem to develop later in the game, because they don't maybe hit first team stages until maybe 25. Sometimes they're younger than that, like James Trafford, who's now way back to Man City. I don't understand that, 'cause I don't know if he's going to be first choice. But listen, I think it'd be a good move for him, because we can all slag off Neil Lennon, but Lennon has a decent manager, to be fair. He's done okay in the past with certain teams, but at that level would be good for Mason Man. He'll give him game time, we'll teach him things, and it's a good club to go to after he said Dunfermline. So good luck to him, and I hope he takes his chance and he comes back next season improved, because he's another guy that wants to play for us. Do you know what I mean? He comes from a part of the country where it's just, you're a Rangers fan, or you're not a Rangers fan, you're over there, do you know what I mean? But he's always wanted to be a Rangers player, and he's got that chance now. I remember McGregor out on years ago. I think he went to St Johnstone. I think he also went to Dunfermline as well. Dunfermline as well, and look how well he done. So hopefully Mason could go down the same path.
Yeah. So as we come to the end of the pod, Ricky, you have often been mentioning in the comments as looking at Jerry the King Lawler. So I was thinking about Hulk Hogan passing away. How are you feeling from that?
Well, there's a few things before we finish. Hulk Hogan passing away was very sad. I loved Hulk Hogan. There's a guy that was dressed up in the costume at the train station when the police tried to arrest him, and he was dressed as Hulk Hogan. That was amazing. But no, big fan of Hulk Hogan growing up. He was my favourite wrestler. You can tell I always fancied the favourites, because I always wanted the Hulk to win. But that was pretty sad, very sad, mate. But that's life, unfortunately. Ozzy Osbourne as well, super sad, mate. Lost 2 legends this week, so hopefully we don't lose any more.
No, not true. Were you going to say something else, Ricky, before we finish?
No, just a few things before you finish about that. Like Patrick Stewart's got a little redemption arc. We're bringing McAllister back as Kitman. I see that's on the table again, so hopefully that goes off. And if you've not seen the interview with Paul Murray, he did an interview. It's on YouTube. Go and watch it. Good Paisley man. Paul Murray did an interview with the Record. Forget about the Daily Record, but it's actually really good. He's going on about the new owner, speaking about them, and saying that he had his bullshit meter and he could tell that these guys were the real deal right away and stuff like that. So, Andy, all that nonsense Murray was coming out with a few weeks ago, he completely says what a lot of nonsense all that was. He tells the real story about the board of directors saying to Murray, look, this guy, Craig White, is an absolute gangster. They do not trust him. And Murray went behind their backs. They tried to do a deal and stuff like that. And Murray said no. To be fair, I mean, he was in a bad financial situation. That's a whole podcast on its own. But it's a fascinating interview, so get on it. It's a really good. It's on YouTube, so well worth a watch. This is just before I finish my work today, and it's really, really good.
I'll have a watch that tomorrow before the game starts then. So we came to the end of the pod for this evening. We will be back on Monday night as we preview or discuss the Middlesbrough game a little bit, but more importantly, preview the Wednesday night Panathinaikos return leg. Hopefully by then, Raksaki might be there. We may also have Asgard fit again and some other additions to go to the team. So,
just like to say, Gary, I'd like to say RIP to Ozzy.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking the Hulkster about Ozzy. Sad to see some of those pass away. You know, people from your youth and your childhood as you grew up. You know, that's one means we're getting old, but also it's sad.
See, bonus way to these two guys lived such good lives.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously the Hulkster abused his body that much with steroids and whatever else, and then Ozzy took cocktails of drugs people even think of taking. Do you know what I mean? He was 76, Hulkster 71, so for what they've done to their bodies and here this long, I mean, hats off to both of them.
No, and that's why we're all such a huge fan of Keith Richards. He's in his 80s and he's still doing it. Good on it.
There you go.
Social
and they say don't take drugs, kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but please don't. If anybody is watching this, any point, please don't. Drugs are for mugs. Remember Zamo and Green Chill and all that stuff. So anyway, we've came to the end of the pod. We will be back on Monday night. Please hope we have a good weekend.
Last ever pod after that.
Yeah, possibly. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Have a nice time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Do all those things, and we will see you on Monday. Take care. Bye now.